Welcome, everyone. I'm Mike Snell, and as many of you probably already know, I had the opportunity recently to go to CPAC 2020. And since I'm a libertarian, I figured I'd give the libertarian take on what it was like to be in MAGA land. So if you're a libertarian like me, use this review as advice moving forward to determine whether or not you might want to go in, say, 2021. All right, so let's start with the good. There is no better networking event to meet people from across the country that share a certain set of core values, from the common attendee like me to the biggest name celebrities in conservatism like Ted Cruz, Charlie Kirk, and Sean Spicer. I'll also add that the common attendees had an unrivaled access to these, we'll call them celebrities of conservatism, in Media Row, the likes of which you really aren't going to get at any other event. So it was really cool being able to engage these, we'll call them celebrities, so directly. The networking doesn't extend to just political celebrities either. I actually managed to run into a few friends of mine who had only really known through the internet, never had the real opportunity to meet in person. Because of the fact that this is one of these confluences of like-minded people, you're able to meet a whole bunch of new people that you haven't met before and people that you might not be able to meet because they're completely across the country in real life without an event like this. Now, I said I was able to meet a whole bunch of new people, and the result, of course, was that I was able to make business connections, the likes of which I wouldn't have otherwise made. I've got about 30 new business cards here, people that I'll be talking to shortly, and you guys can go ahead and look out for, because I'm hopefully going to be having those conversations in the public purview, hopefully on this channel. It cannot be hyperbolized how amazing this event is for making new business connections. And the networking isn't limited to business connections either, because the event is such a great way to meet new people that it's kind of gained a playful notoriety for meeting people to date. That's right, fellas, there actually are conservative women out there. There was even a booth in the exhibition hall for a matchmaking company looking to capitalize on this effect. What was surprising was the number of libertarians at the event, both big L and little l. Folks, for example, who voted for Gary Johnson in 2016 and for Larry Sharpe in 2018. In fact, the more it seemed I pried into attendees' political inclinations, the more ready they were to reveal themselves as libertarian and ready to view our president through the lens of, for example, good Trump, bad Trump. And for somebody who's part of a very minority movement, it was honestly refreshing to see that there are far more of us out there than we might likely realize. The short version is that if you treat the event as a way to meet new people and just skip the public speaking events altogether, you won't find a better place to find like-minded people. And if you're considering going, this is the reason to go. Okay, on to the bad. It would be impossible to talk about going to CPAC without talking about the cost. Expect to pay Yankee Stadium food prices. Expect to pay at least $20 a day in parking. Expect to be hawked on like you're in Yankee Stadium. Expect to pay a colossal premium. And when I say colossal premium, I mean hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for exclusive events and seating. Entry prices start at $330, and the place is located at National Harbor, which is one of these giant one-way in, one-way out locations. So if you're looking to stay in the harbor, expect to pay at least $300 a night in hotel fees, and if you're not, you're going to have to deal with that one-way in, one-way out. That said, I did manage to find an Airbnb just outside the proverbial loop for about $70 a night, and Ubering was only about $6 or $7 each way, so you can save yourself some money in travel and parking by taking that approach. And to be honest, these are all things you should expect from the extravagantly luxurious Gaylord National Resort and Convention Center where the event is held. As an aside, this was without a doubt the most posh hotel, if you can even call it that, I've ever even been in, and it rivals the resorts on the Strip in Vegas in terms of its luxury and its accommodations. So it would also be impossible to talk about CPAC 2020 without mentioning two words that I know you guys don't want to hear, and those two words are echo chamber. As much as it was a breath of fresh air to see so many libertarians under one roof, the air was dominated by a fanatical, unconditional fealty to President Trump and an overt rejection of criticism of the Trumpian politic. Even the smaller panels included zero dissenting opinion and only became an actual debate when there was pushback from the audience themselves. Honestly, it felt like most of the speakers on the main stage were just pandering to an audience that was already won over before they even took the stage, and there was just nothing new that was to come out from these speaking events. So if you go looking to debate a leftist or to challenge a MAGA fanboy or to see a Shapiro destroys moment in real time, you're wasting your time. So the final note on the bad has to mention the one-way in, one-way out nature of the National Harbor location where the event was held. So when Vice President Mike Pence and President Trump arrived, the place went into an utter lockdown for hours before and hours after their departure that just made moving around the event completely impossible. I mean, we're talking about a complete shutdown of the event outside of the main stage. You're talking about preposterously long lines for everything. You're talking about no way back in if you decide to leave any part of the event. It was brutal. It was a mistake to stay. And my recommendation in hindsight would have been to just leave the event completely, walk right across the street and hang out at the bar and meet new people, because there was oodles of awesome bars and restaurants right across the street from the event, or to just take the day and go down to DC and tour our nation's capital. All right, so let's just jump to the skinny because that's why you're all here anyways. And the short version is, I had a blast. I got some early advice on the first day from some insiders that had been attending this event since its inception to just completely avoid the speaking events and use this as an excuse to meet new people and to do some networking. And for the record, even after the day's events are over, the nightlife is absolutely ideal for meeting new people and conducting your networking. As an aside, I got a whole bunch of cool new books because one of the vendors at the exhibit hall was a conservative book dealer. I got Ludwig von Mises's The Anti-Capitalistic Mentality. I got F.H. Buckley's American Secession. I got this free book called Fool's Errand, Time to End the War in Afghanistan by Scott Horton. And I got a free DVD called An Endless War, Getting Out of Afghanistan. How does one end America's longest and costliest war? So I'll actually be doing some reviews on all this stuff on my other channel, Mike Reads. I'll link to that in this video's description, so look out for that. All right, so with that out of the way, let's just jump to the end here by saying, if you go and you're a libertarian, you can absolutely have a blast. Take my advice, skip the speaking events. Save up for this event because it's going to be very expensive. And if you're a MAGA fanboy, you won't have to take my advice because the event's going to cater to your every whim. And if you're not a MAGA fanboy and you've got a far more grounded politic like me, again, skip the speeches, meet new people, spend a ton of time in the exhibition hall, and genuinely talk to all of the vendors. Trust me, you're going to get a lot out of these conversations. Stay for drinks afterwards and accept the fact that you're going to rack up a bill, so save up in advance. The only major mistake I made was going alone. So if you're going to go, bring as many people as you possibly can, stay together, and you'll be far better able to both make new connections and improve the ones you already have despite the cost. Libertarians can enjoy this event, and I'll be going back in 2021 for sure. If the expense is something that concerns you, take my advice, save up, and remember that Disneyland is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and that's how you should treat this. And for the love of God, leave the kids at home.